Hey guys, welcome to a new video tutorial, and for today's video I'll be making the gown you saw on the thumbnail. So if you're interested in this video, please keep watching. Now the first thing I have done is I have folded my fabric right side to right side. So this part you're seeing here is the wrong side of the fabric, the part that is going to be on the inside. Then I've also bent it down because this is where I'm going to hem it. So now I'm going to take my measurement. My full length for this dress is 44. So I'm going to start measuring from the 44-inch here, and I'm going to take it all the way to the top, which is the half-inch measurement. So for my, the half length. So for my half length measurement, I'll be using 17. I'll be using 17. Now, I'll also add a half-inch sewing allowance, which will be like taking it up to 16.5 inch. So that's where I'm going to make a mark for this skirt part. So this is the measurement I have here, the 16.5 inch. This 17 here is where the half length begins from. So this half inch at the top is the sewing allowance. So I'm just going to go on and mark out the measurement for the body circumference on the waist part, on the hip part, and then curve it all the way to the bottom. Then I'm going to include allowance to the end and then just trim it out. Then also for this part, let's remember that there is this folding in the front, which is about 1 inch. So the measurement for that has been added into this 1 inch for that. So I'll be using 2 inches for it. I'll divide it into two, which is 1 inch. Then also added to the body circumference and the allowance. So I'm just going to do that now. So as you can see, I marked out this 1 inch here for that folding at the front. Then this is the original body circumference measurement, and then this is the allowance that has been added. This is an allowance of 2 inches. So I'm just going to trim from this end here. Then I'm going to nudge this part because at the top and at the bottom, so that I know how to follow the folding. Then I'm just going to trim, and then I'll make the back cutting and then top measurement also. So now I've cut the back also, and this is what it looks like. So to this 1 inch that I already have for the front, I simply added 1 extra inch to the back. So that makes 2 inches for the back, because for the front part this is going to be folded, and so this is the amount of allowance that I'm going to have. You can see the upside. This is the amount of allowance I'm going to have for the back. So now I'm going to cut the front. So for this upside, I'm going to be drafting a princess dart. Now I've already drafted one in this video in the link above, but for this video I'm also going to be showing how to do it. So if you want more clarification, more explanation, please after this video go ahead to watch the one that's at the top. So now I'm going to measure out this person's half length, which is 17. Then I'm going to add 1 inch, which is going to be a half-inch for the top and a half-inch for the bottom as sewing allowance. So I'm not going to be counting this part of this material because this is the ending. So I'm going to measure out the 18 inches, and I'm going to make a mark at the top here. I'm going to just draw a straight line all the way through to the end. So now the front part of this has that folding also from top to the bottom. So I'm going to mark out 1 inch here all the way down to the end of this fabric. Then from this 1 inch now that I have marked out, from to nipple measurement is 7. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch on allowance to be able to sew both sides. So I'm going to be using 8. If I divide that into 2, that is going to be 4. So I'm going to mark out on the 4 part of this. So now I'm just going to join both sides. So now that I have joined these lines here, now I'm going to make my measurements from this line. Like I see, this line is the beginning of the top. So I'm going to measure out the shoulder length is 15.5, but I'll cut it into 16.5. Then I'm going to make a mark here. I'm going to come down to the bottom of this and mark her chest line, which is 7.5 here. So on this 7.5, I'm just going to measure the half of it here, and then this here is the midpoint for it. So it's going to look something like this, just like you saw me do in the other video. Now on this point, I'm going to mark from her shoulder to nipple measurement, which is, this is her under bust here. So please don't forget to put in the ½ inch allowance that has been stated for the top, or you could just even still move your tape by a little distance down just to be able to mark it out. So this is the 13-inch here. Then from her shoulder to nipple measurement, I'm going to be using 9.5. So now I'm going to draw this with my free hand to meet or to touch this shoulder to nipple measurement, and then this is what I have straight. I'm going to come to our under bust measurement here, and I'm going to take out 1 inch on both sides. Also, because this person is not very busty, so I'm going to take out 1 inch on both sides, and I'm going to just draw it out to touch the nipple measurement, the shoulder to nipple measurement. And this is what I have for the bottom. Now on this top side here, I'm also going to come up here and take out 1 inch on both sides also, and I'm going to mark it to touch the nipple to nipple measurement also. So this is what I have for it. So it is looking something like this. Now by these 2 inches, I'm also still going to extend the armhole line. So I'm going to come to this bottom down here and mark out these 2 inches here, and now the armhole is going to be like this. So now I'm just going to, so the shoulder part for this cloth has a collar, but before I cut out the collar point, I'm just going to cut this out first. So after cutting out the princess dart, this is what I have, but I have not yet cut out the neckline for it, so I'm just going to stitch this down first before I cut off the neckline. Now I'm going to do the same for the back and cut out the allowance. So now I've placed the front on the back, and I'm just going to mark out the sections of the front to help me work on the back, but I'm also not going to cut out a neckline for the back yet. So now this is the back pattern that has been cut already. Now I'm just going to trim out this portion here so that it doesn't form a bulge at the back. So guys, as you can see, I have sewn this skirt, and then this is what the front part looks like. So this is the part that is going to be joining to the upper side also. So this now is the front area after joining. As you can see, the pockets for the breast side, and then I am yet to cut out the neck area. And so this is the back side. As you can see, I've already dropped the back neck here. I cut this down by 1 inch, so the distance between this point and here, which touches this part, is 1 inch. So for this now, I'm going to cut the facing for this, which is like material to turn over for the next side. So now I cut the front neck, and I cut it by 3 inches down, and 3.5 inch to meet the shoulder area. So now I'm going to cut a facing for the front separately, and then I'm going to join the front and back together, after which I'll bring it back to cut the collar that should be around the neck area. So now I have cut the facing for the front, and this is what it is. So I'm just going to join this I'm just going to join the fabric with the back fabric. Then so now I want to cut the collar. I have joined the shoulder of this, and I'm going to trim out the excesses here. So for me to get the how long the collar is supposed to be around the neck, or should I say the width of the collar around the neck, I'm going to fold this into two and measure all the way to the place I have left out for the zip allowance. So I'm going to start it from here, this point here, this sewing point, and I'm going to measure it all the way to the zip allowance, just before the zip allowance. So when I checked this, I had about 9.5 inch. That's what. So the collar is going to be a straight collar, of which I have 9.5 here. I'm just going to add 1 inch to be able to sew in both sides. Yes. Then I'm going to mark it on this point. So I'm going to mark it on this point here. This is what I have. Now for the width of my collar, I'm using 3 inches, because also when I fold it, I'm going to literally have like a 1/2 inch inside the folding. I'm just going to have like 2.5 inches remaining out. So this is going to be, this is the length of my collar. So I'm going to cut it here, and I'm going to cut it in two places, one for the left and one for the right. After this, I'm going to pin it so you can see just how it looks like around the neck area, and in case if I need to make any other adjustments to it. So now this is the collar after I sewed it. Then now I have pinned it on the fabric to see what it's going to look like on the neck, and it actually does look like what was on the picture there. So I'm just going to sew it around on this point. I'm going to now join the facing together, the front to the back, and also still run it around here, just to use it to cover the neck side inside. So guys, this is the neck after I've attached the facing like I said I would. So this is the facing, and I simply just used it to, so guys, this is the facing like I said I would attach it to the neck and use it to turn over the collar. So now this is it after it has been sewn. For best results, it's good to weave this down part, then weave all this. Like if you notice, this material is already shedding from here, so just weave it everything up before you finish the clothes. It makes the work easier and simpler for you basically. So now I'm shaping the top side of the gown, and now what I'm going to do next is to attach the arm for the hand. So I'm going to cut it and attach it. Now the arm for this gown was changed to a garter's hand. I don't know why they changed it. Anyway, so I will not be using the hand that we saw on in the picture. Although that one is still sort of easy to cut. That's just like a flay hand. Yes, that's just a flay hand. But this one is a gather's hand, and so I'm going to be cutting out the gathers and then attaching it. It also has elastic at the elbow part of the sleeve. So that's what I'm going to do now, to cut the hand and attach it. So to be able to cut out the sleeve the way I want it to be, I decided to use a paper to just make the job easier for me. Now I have already drafted this out. So because the hand is going to be a gather's arm, this part is actually not long enough. So I'm going to extend it on the fabric. But for this, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to divide this into several parts. And then I'm going to label each like 1, 2, 3, 4, and just like that, to be able to help me to spread it out on the fabric to make it easy for cutting. So first I'm going to take the full length of this that I want. Like I said, this part of this paper is not enough, so I'm going to extend it by 1 inch out. So I'm just going to assume this is 9 inches, because this is a little bit past 9 inches, but I assume this is 9 inches. Now for what I want to do, I'm going to cut this using 1.5 inch for each one, so I'll be able to easily spread it out. So on this point now, I'm going to mark out 1.5 inch to make it. So for this one, I'm just going to assume it ends at 9, which is supposed to make up for the other side. I'm going to do the same thing for the top to be able to get perfectly straight lines. 1.5, 6.5, 37. Now I'm going to connect the lines. So I'm like, I've already labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm going to cut. See. So the sleeve is gathers, and then the length of the sleeve is 17 inches, but I'm going to fold it in to be able to pass elastic into it. So I'm adding 1 extra inch for that, making it 18 inches. So now I have spread it out equally. Don't forget that I said this place is supposed to have an extension, which is supposed to be here, and this will be the spacing for this part because this paper is not enough. So this is what it is. Now I'm just going to go ahead and then trace this out all the way to the bottom, and then I'll use this sleeve that I've cut out to cut out for the next one, and then I'm just going to run the sides of the sleeve, bend this down part of it, attach the elastic before I draw gathers on the top arm side, and also attach it to the up part of the gown that I have sharpened. So now this is the both sleeves after cutting. So this is the sleeve after putting in the elastic and drawing the gathers at the top. This is what it looks like. So now I'm going to attach it to the upper body of the dress, just like this. So I'm going to attach it so it looks just like this, after which I'm going to join the bottom of this to the skirt part, and then I'm going to attach the zip, and I think I'm done with the majority of this gown. So now I've attached the hands to the dress, I've attached the bottom, I've also put the zip or the zipper at the back, and so I'm literally done with this dress. All that I have to do is just do the inner weavings and probably wear this on a mannequin just so you can appreciate it better. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. I hope you learned 1 or 2 things. I hope you like this video. Please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.